2, 3, 4. In this podcast, you will be here. Knights of Vader, Knights of Vader includes, but is not limited to talk of Star Wars, not ray guns. We can't truly prepare for the jump that follows this song, but hey, we gave it a try. So here's the Knights of Vader. Crystal Fox reports they are divided. Prequel, sequel, canon, love they fighted. I know that we are just musicians hired, and their time is up. So here's the Knights of Vader.
Impressive. Most impressive.
God, I don't even know how to introduce this. Okay, here we go. Crap, how does it start?
Thank you to An Inspiriority Complex for providing our theme. Today is November 15th, 11, whatever. Yeah, November 15th, Knights of Vader. He always says the date after it for some reason. So.
And thank you to An Superiority Complex for providing my tongue twister today. And theme song. Today is November 15th, of 2020, and you've got me, stand-in host Zenger. I know, surprise everyone. I'm flying the ship today, and much like the ship in the episode we discussed, it might crash. But I'm not here by myself. Thank God to everyone else. I'm joined by, of course, the ever-present Rus.
Yeah, Mon Calamari, unbelievable.
And we are also joined by the third best Star Wars toy collector in Canada, Chris. Welcome.
Hey guys, glad to be here to discuss why Alien 3 is in fact the best film
We're
in
not
the
doing
Alien franchise.
This. Even though there is, I think, an Alien and a Predator reference, we're not doing this yet.
There is in this. Yeah, they are really pushing those Alien references, and they won't let this. They heard this discussion. They're like, let's keep them going. Let's add a little another wrinkle in.
All right, so we are discussing Chapter 11 of the Chapter 11, Episode 3 of Season 2 of Mandalorian, the Highness,
the Heiress,
the Heiress, the Heiress. God, Zack is gonna kill us for this. So, I guess right off
because you didn't say Mandalorian yet. Okay,
I haven't. Give me time.
Heiress.
I just want to say. I'm coming out of the gates hot with this. Bryce Dallas Howard delivered another great directed episode. I love this episode. I was on board with everything that happened in it. I have little to no complaints. Awesome episode.
I'm right with you. Yeah, I love the pacing of this. I like just the little bit of comedy that was thrown in at the perfect spots, especially during the action. Yeah, real fun episode.
I really enjoyed it too, but I was like really surprised that she directed it because I think the other one she did in season 1 is probably my least favorite, and I thought the action was like kind of phony and like no one really got killed in that giant battle, and it was just like very underwhelming to me. So when I heard she directed this, I was like, well, all right, improvement.
I have commented that episode from last season that she directed, you could take the cast of Firefly and put it in there and it would have been the same episode because that's all it was just character goes to town full of people that need to fight.
Yeah,
it's very by the books writing. This episode is not. I was super impressed with this episode. I love the comedy. I love the lore that was built up in this episode. I don't know what Zack's opinion is on this episode, mind you. I'm assuming he loved it so much that he did not want to come on today to discuss it because he was afraid that he was going to show his true love for the Mandalorian with how amazing this episode was. That is my theory. I don't know about you.
Oh yeah,
guys.
I think he's got it on a loop right now. He can't keep his eyes off of
yes,
it.
that we would have heard it in the background if he had recorded with us. So that is why he is not here today. That is our opinion. Prove us wrong. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, don't you guys think it's probably because there's an army of not Boba Fett's? So, like, he's basically put his head inside a jar and he's, like, screaming at the top of his lungs, like, but so he doesn't alert his neighbors. He's trying to mute it as much as possible, but it's just ongoing to this point.
So,
I think these are more Clone Wars, not Boba Fett. So they're kind of known characters. It was fun having them.
I thoroughly enjoyed the lore building of this because it also brought me to a very weird realization of a few different things. One, there is both Mandalore, planet, Mandalorians, the people, and then Mandalore, the actual person, too. So there's that, and then there's like subsets of each of those.
Yeah, like, but Mandalore, as in like the ruler, has been around for a while. Like, I think you might encounter him in Knights of the Old Republic, like a guy who had that title like way early on the game, and then I think in Legends, like in the Legends canon, like if you go like 20 or 30 years out from Return of the Jedi, I think Boba Fett actually became quote-unquote Mandalore at one point, like way down the line, but not canon anymore.
Well, here's the thing I found out by watching like a recap of this where it was explaining some stuff, that when the armor refers to Mandalore the Great, I thought it was like, oh, as in like, when the planet was at its greatness. No, that's an actual person. Mandalore the Great was a person that battled the Jedi. So I was like, oh, great. So now we got the confusing thing of, are you talking about Mandalore the people, Mandalore the person, Mandalore the planet? Like, which one of these is it referring to? And I'm trying to remember, there's a joke in something else where the, like, person, like it's one of those things where, like, several things are named the same, so it becomes very confusing with that. I don't think it's a Star Wars reference at all, but I just wanted to throw that there. No, I love the return of Bo-Katan. I love the return of the actress who I'm blanking on the name off the top of my head, Katie Sackhoff. Yeah, Sackhoff. Returning to reprise her role, and also we get more that, like I said, lore is something I love in Star Wars, and we got like a big old heap and plate of it today in this well, whenever you watched it. But today in this discussion, we're going to discuss it, so we got a big old plate of it, and I was really excited to dig into it. With the whole, like...
Yeah, that whole dichotomy, where as soon as anyone takes their helmet off in front of him, it becomes an issue. But then he gets schooled so quickly as to, like, all right, yo, he's one of these crazy, these children, What do they call them? The Watch, the Children of the Watch?
Yeah, Children of the Watch.
They're like, oh, God, it's these guys. It's like, you could take the thing off. We've been doing it for a long time.
So does that mean that Din is basically like an Amish person? Like he's like the Mandalorian equivalent of the Amish, where like they've been like forced to live in this like what was that M. Night Shyamalan movie where like these people like, yeah, there you go. He's like one of those guys where he like doesn't know what year it is. Basically, he's lived such a sheltered life. Like,
he doesn't know what Jedi are.
That does explain a lot, right? Because like whatever culture, whatever close knit community he was living in, they don't know about the guys who were integral to the government like 20 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I've always thought that was weird in Star Wars, the whole like the Jedi. Okay, I go back to this scene all the time, and I think this is why Zack does not ever want to do like me discussing New Hope again, because the scene where it's all of them sitting around the table and Vader's choking out people and Tarkin's just staring at everyone. That, I think, is one of the greatest scenes in cinema for establishing so much so much canon and so much, like, exposition, but not having you sit there and be annoyed by it. Like, it's them basically word vomiting, but I love the whole, oh, well, you're wizards, ways, you're Jedi, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, they were around when you were, like, old enough to know what they were, dude. Like, how do you not remember that?
Like, that guy was probably already working in the Republic. Well, I guess one of the guys in that room, Yularen, was like a general in the Clone Wars, right? So he's like working directly with Anakin a bunch of times. I mean, of course, you have to look at A New Hope like outside of that context, because obviously that was just an extra at the time, and he wasn't meant to have a previous relationship with Vader per se.
I don't know. I don't accept that. I watch it as canon and everything existing.
Well, you should check out. There's maybe like, I think there's a pretty large deleted scene from that you can find. Well, I guess it's not. It's part of that scene, and where I think even the word Sith comes out from one of those guys. I forget what the context was, but there's a big chunk of that you can find online. Since you're such an enthusiast of that scene, you should probably look it up.
I will. I definitely will. Also, it establishes the Emperor, too. The Emperor's mentioned there, too. And it's just kind of an offhanded reference. So everyone's like, oh, who's the Emperor in Empire Strikes Back? It's like, well, they've already talked about him. Why weren't you paying attention during that very pivotal scene? So
yeah,
plus,
like everything we know about like the whole hierarchy of the Empire, going through almost through all of those, we just learned through that and how it works with regional governors and moffs and emperors and whatever Vader is.
Also, right. So
go ahead.
I was just gonna because we learn that Din was kind of like a part of this like Mandalorian sect that doesn't remove their helmets.
The Amish. So we will refer to them as the Amish.
All right. So yeah, exactly. So because of that, but what I don't get about that is the Mandalorians who pick him up as a kid is Death Watch, and we know they don't follow that rule, right? So like, we're to understand that they drop him off at an Amish orphanage, and then because this whole thing stinks to me of they decided from a marketing / cinematic perspective that they didn't want him to take his helmet off in season 1, and now they're like, well, we need to find a reason why the rest of the Mandalorians don't live like that. Like, that's what it feels like to me a little bit, and it's fine because at least they're addressing it, because like in canon that's not a thing with Mandalorians as far as we knew. So I'm glad they're like finally getting around to like at least saying something about it, but it kind of just feels like they're just like, here's a reason, stop asking about it.
Well, yeah, and do you think this also might lead to some point where this sect is going to be okay with taking their helmets off? You think it's going to lead to at one point,
well, they're all dead,
being able to walk around helmetless, or is he going to stick to it?
They all got killed. We saw that, right?
No. There's a handful still alive, especially the armorer. She's out there being badass somewhere.
Right, just her though.
Just her.
We saw that pile of armor.
That she actually killed all of them because she's like, oh, you guys are too weak to take me on.
They took their helmets off, and then
and she's like, oh, it's on. So I don't know. I think that they're establishing multiple storylines here too. There's the whole storyline now that involves Gideon and of course Bo-Katan of the Darksaber thing, which I think that our Mandalorian, Din Djarin, should not get involved in that, in the sense of, I wouldn't be involved, but I don't want him to get the saber. It should go to her. It would make more sense to go to her. I think he should be involved in it, but that's, I don't know, I feel like they're doing stuff to set up other stuff right now, and I really like that. I don't know where they're going to go. Also, I really appreciate the fact that there is a new curse word introduced that has been said twice now, and I wanted to see, did you guys catch it?
Yeah, what is it? Varric or whatever it is. I know
Dank Varric.
Dank Varric. Yeah, he says it. Well, he says it in other ones too, but he says it so dismissively, it's hard to catch. But it was a lot more obvious in this. I think Bo-Katan and him both say it in this.
He says it during the with the fighting the Krayt Dragon, and then she says it when they refer to, when they're like, oh, he's one of them. And I'm going to start using that in everyday speech now, just because
I don't like it.
I like it. It's
I don't
great.
like it because the first word sounds like thank, which means that it would be a positive thing.
Yeah.
So like that's throwing me off.
And also, once again, I'm gonna say consistently on this episode, because I want to know if I'm not editing this episode, I don't think. So I want to know if someone's gonna be editing it out. Zach, you're gonna edit me saying Dank Varric? I don't know. We'll find out. But no, I mean, so like I said, that's a cool thing. 'Cause there has been like other things said here and there, but I like that there's a new one floating around now this season. I mean, what did you guys think of like them having the other Mandalorians flying around and doing stuff and something that Zack hated to no end the last time it happened? But now we only got 3 extra Mandalorians flying around.
I mean, we kind of knew we were going to see him. We at least were hoping to, because this is the whole point of him going to this planet and doing this frog switch off and doing that, just doing everything that's led up to this. But doing it like it is, and it caught me right before they came out. I wasn't that suspicious, and I should be, because Quarrens have been jerks like forever in Star Wars. Squidhead, as much as I was excited to see him the first time, when you see a bunch of them, you know they're up to no good. And I don't know how it got me. It actually got me when they threw Baby Yoda in that pit and went after him.
I kind of was like, it can't be this easy. I was waiting for it, especially where the guy kept on insisting on them coming over and taking a look. I was like, there's something going on here. My spidey sense is tingling.
So when we got the season 2 trailer, I really thought this would be like the Mon Calamari homeworld, because you have a ton of both of those guys on there, and I guess I forget the name of it. I don't know if you guys caught it.
Aqualish, I believe
it's Trask once.
Trask. This way they was Trask.
Okay, so Trask is the city they were at, but not the planet, or is okay? We're getting very confused with things.
Well, either way, it's like why it's not just the Mon Calamari homeworld, I don't understand.
I don't either. And it is the planet Trask. And yeah, aren't they from, what's their planet called? Is it Aqualish? I know that's the language.
No, Aqualish is actually what Walrus Man's species is, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's right. Get them all confused.
But it's got aqua in it, so you're forgiven. I can understand why you might think that. But I think it's literally just Mon Calamari or Mon Cala or one.
I think it's Mon Cala.
Yeah, but it's got a ton of those guys. I can't remember how. I know that the Quarren and the Mon Calamari were having some kind of civil war in the Clone Wars.
They always
do. I guess that got resolved. So I guess it's okay that they're like hanging out and cool with each other on this planet. But like when the bartender first went to talk to when the restaurant owner went to talk to that Quarren, I was like, I thought these guys are supposed to like hate each other. Like, why are they like flipping them deals and stuff? But it's a little bit like earthy, the sort of like literal earth fishing village that these guys are both like, these both species are like fully dressed in like, they look like, it looks like what, like as an ignorant like person not from that area of America, it's like what I imagine like a cartoon version of Maine would look like or something. Like I don't know what the sweaters and everything. It's just like it's
sweater with the boot overall combo,
right.
Waiters.
So I guess
there we go.
It doesn't really match up to like the Mon Calamari homeworld we've seen in Clone Wars and stuff. So I guess it's fine in that sense. But what did you guys think of that lead Mon Calamari, the one, I mean, I guess it's virtually the same costume, the guy in the restaurant and the guy at the docks, because I thought he didn't look that great. I don't know about you guys.
He looked okay. I did like especially the dock worker's actual character, where he was just kind of like a duller dock worker guy. He just kind of looked at like, I don't know.
I just thought something was a bit off about the mask. I don't know.
Real effects.
Yeah, well, I mean, Akbar's always been a real mask, so, like, that's fine. But, like, it just looked like by far the cheapest Akbar head we've seen, like, so far, to me. Maybe in Rogue One, those guys are a little bit more CGI. Maybe they did a little bit extra there.
A little touch-up on them.
Yeah, they seem a bit more animated, I guess.
They blew it all on the Quarren budget, because those masks actually look pretty good, the way that their little tentacles move around and stuff. I thought they looked pretty cool.
I don't know. Just something about the eyes on that guy threw me off. I'm not sure what it was. I guess it's just me.
I can see they're very yellow. They're very bright and stand out, I think, more than the other ones do.
Yeah, and it seemed like they were avoiding close-ups on them too. So I thought maybe someone else noticed that. But it was. I mean, they were pretty good. It was kind of weird hearing the Quarren speak in like a perfect English, considering like his face moves. but like, I mean, it's, in terms of like what would look like a mouth, it's kind of static. I guess the tentacles are moving all over the place. But and
they make him sound like a pirate too. It very much reminds me of like Pirates of the Caribbean. It's like who's the one with the tentacle face, that Davy Jones or something?
Yeah, it's a lot like that. And I mean, I gotta admit though, it did catch me off guard too when they knocked Baby Yoda into that pit in the middle of the boat.
Yeah.
But it might have been not the best idea for them to drive out to literally where they did last see Mandalorians while they're planning on double crossing this guy. They should have gone a different direction away from the Mandalorians. But
so you think that everybody in Maine wears these outfits?
I'm saying that that's ignorant, but yes.
Well, okay, allow me to top that. So, Russ, if you don't mind me saying, you're from Louisiana, right? I just assume everyone is crawfish picking at all times in these exact outfits, but they're short-sleeved versions of sweaters because it's hotter down there, right?
It's not too far off, and there are areas, where it's just a lot of fishing going on like that. And they do have like weird cranes and stuff nearby, so What'd you think of that AT-AT big scooper?
Oh, the crane and everything. So what is up with Bryce Dallas Howard and repurposing old Imperial gear for her episodes? Because the last one had a repurposed AT-ST. This one has repurposed AT-ATs as cranes.
I heard somebody say that crane was in Solo, but I've never noticed it in Solo.
That would involve you watching Solo again, which
would that have been probably in Corellia, probably in the background during that chase in the beginning or something.
Wouldn't surprise me. Which, on that note, Zach isn't here to tell me no, so I guess we could end this by talking about the Solo 2 thing, but as of right now, I'd like to continue with just the discussion of like seeing some Mandalorians in action again. Was pretty cool for me.
It was. I like their plan. And of course, they whipped the boat dude so easily. You almost kind of wanted to see what was going to go on underwater, maybe in like a bigger budget film. You would have seen that. I was almost expecting to cut to it, and great introduction to this character. So yeah, we all know Bo-Katan, but the other one, Axe Woves and Koska Reeves.
Koska Reeves is
they're both new.
Is a wrestler.
I think so. I don't know if is Axe Woves been brought up before. That dude had one line, the one male Mandalorian. Yeah. I think he said one thing in the whole episode.
He says like one thing there, and then he says something about couldn't hit the broadside of a bantha
or something. Yeah,
and then he says something in there, like he has one line per like set piece. I think so.
Yeah, when they were standing on top of the Razor Crest and looking down, and then he says that, and you're like, yeah, we get it. We know stormtroopers can't shoot. It's been very reinforced. But.
Yep, it definitely has. I swore because I was watching with subtitles earlier just to make sure I was catching certain things. I thought it said like Axe Wolf or something. I'm like, oh my god, please no. And I had the
other one. Yeah, I did too for a second.
I thought it did, and I was like, please no. And I was like, oh okay, close, but. Too close. I know the chick is...
There's an Axe body spray called Wolves, too, so they probably had to shorten it.
I think there is, like, a Axe or
there definitely is some wolf something or other, yeah.
I know there's an Old Spice one where it's got a wolf on the front of it.
And it's like a real evil-looking, like, cartoonish werewolf type thing.
Yeah, and there's one with, like, I think a squid or something, or... I don't know, there's a whole...
Like a kraken.
Yeah.
Kraken,
there it is.
Yeah,
that's what we need for guys. That's definitely our
like,
choices have to have.
Smell like a squid.
Spirit animals.
Want to smell like the characters in this show on the docks.
Oh man, if they come out with a Cthulhu one, like I almost don't care what it smells like. That's my new thing.
So, by the way, so Russ, to point this out, I don't remember her wrestler name, but the one other chick is a wrestler.
Yeah, Sasha Banks. She's going by her real name, which I don't remember. I just know her Sasha Banks, and I know that she's like Snoop Dogg's cousin.
Yes, I was about to point out that fun fact, but thank you for stealing it from me. I appreciate it.
Oh, sorry.
No. I wanted
like
you to
literally
steal it.
The only fun fact she has, and wrestling has like beat you over the head with that. Like Snoop Dogg came out with her at WrestleMania one year. They're like, by God, her cousin's here.
Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, the least threatening thing to ever walk into a wrestling ring. That's how he wrestled. I think he just rapped as she came out. Yeah. It would actually be worse.
Just ate a lot of popcorn. Yeah.
Just sat there, enjoyed the show.
So we're at the highest chances in history of Snoop Dogg being in Star Wars right now, basically.
So what you're saying is next episode Snoop, or wait, is he going to be one of the Mandalorians?
Well, they like to find relatives of people who are currently involved with the production and shoehorn them in. So, like, that's
okay.
It's in the cards.
What would Snoop Dogg have to wear for us to know it's Snoop Dogg as a Mandalorian without him taking his helmet off?
Yeah, I have no idea. What would it be, like plaid armor or something? Like, I don't know how you would know it's Snoop Dogg at all.
I got an idea. Instead of the faceplate being like the T-visor, it's just the pot leaf. Visor.
Oh, that's his signet on his on his shoulder.
Perfect. We figured it out.
If they did it upside down, it would almost work, and it just throw you off just enough.
Just enough. So their whole plan is to take this frigate, which, by the way, we've seen this before in several incarnations of Star Wars media. Anyone want to take a guess at where else we've seen it? And bonus points if you get the first time we saw it.
It seems like, I don't know, I would just say Clone Wars-y. I can't really nail down where we've seen this.
Clone Wars and Rebels. It is a transport for the AT-STs.
And yeah, but this exact ship is in Rebels, right? A few times.
Yes.
I think like the class.
Yes.
And I was trying to look it up, but I couldn't find a reference for it. But so like I think they name what kind of ship it is in the Bo-Katan might name what kind of ship it is when they're looking at it across the docks or something. But it looks very much like, and I couldn't find the name of it, but it looks very much like...
I found the name of it. I think it's a Gozanti class cruiser.
Ooh,
okay,
fancy.
But like, do you guys remember in beloved episode 1, The Phantom Menace, when they're first going into Mos Espa, there's a ship very much
Chris
like that.
Gets the bonus point. You are correct. It is from a similar class, but this is like the military version of it.
Okay.
So you get the bonus point today, sir. Congrats.
Great. I couldn't find the name of the one in episode 1. I was really trying to search
It was
that,
seriously just something randomly in the background.
Okay. Yeah.
So if it had a name and you told me it, I would just be like, cool, awesome.
Well, it's got about as much
you.
Screen time as the Outrider in the special edition of A New Hope.
It
just sort of takes off.
Yep. You are exactly correct. So they're of course the plan is to get on the ship, to take the ship and of course find out where the Darksaber is. But they of course tell the Mandalorian that they are just going there to get weapons from it, and he's along for the ride while leaving Baby Yoda in the trusted care of the frog people he is attempting to genocide. Which I guess it's okay now that I don't want to say it's okay that he ate him, but they gave him a redeeming thing where he was sort of playing with the little baby tadpole thing at the end. So did it make it okay? I don't know.
Yeah, I did like that when he left them there. That he said like, "Be good." You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
as if he knows what he's talking about.
Well, you know, when that one finally hatched, all the rest of the eggs still look the same. So, like, when you have a success rate that low, it's not really a big deal that he was eating some.
You know what? We'll justify it that way. Also, maybe it's one of those things where they only like have one egg fertilized at a time. I don't know. I'm very confused, and I feel like this race is going extinct for a reason.
Yeah, it's like
I think they want us to know too much about the bedroom habits of these frog people.
Yeah,
and I'm offended.
Enough.
They skip to another scene, and then the male frog did something to that jar that we don't need to know about.
he dank ferricked it hard.
Exactly.
So we got of course the return of Moff Gideon. In how else do Star Wars bad guys appear as other than holograms and everything? So I like his return. I like that there's sort of like he almost had the Mandalorian while not even knowing he almost had the Mandalorian too. Because
this whole sequence was so fun. I don't know, this whole ship thing. I really enjoyed all of it.
I liked it too. I like the use of practical weapons randomly with the Assassin's Creed blades. I'd seen someone's been playing the new Valhalla a lot, and they decided to upgrade their armor with it.
You notice a big like flaw of the Empire and all their stuff is they always have these great little coves that the bad guys can hide behind and shoot their stormtroopers with. When stormtroopers have them dead to rights in a hallway, there's always a great place to hide every few feet. It's in the Death Stars everywhere. Also, I enjoy the fact of where they were like, oh, they're in the cargo control room. The what? The cargo control. Thump. Just them getting shot out of the back. That was a great little shocker. Yeah, of course they leave him in the one room that they should, where they've basically got everything.
Yep.
And yeah, just shooting all those guys out of the back. Man, that's something. I think that was one of those moments I was like, how come we didn't have like some kind of heist like that in the new trilogy? Like it seemed pretty simple to pull off and just something we've never seen in Star Wars. And it was cool.
I like it. It's something that could perfectly have worked in like, I don't know, some movie about a smuggler with the, companion that's a giant Sasquatch. I don't know. Could have worked in that, but I mean, like we have one of those to even begin to talk about it.
I mean, yeah, it wasn't that.
It seems like a Solo thing to do.
Yeah, they did a train instead, which like it's probably more expensive to do the train. So I think I'm fine with that.
It was,
all right.
and I thought the same thing during all this. I could not help but compare it to the heist in Solo, and I was like, this kind of looks cooler. But I get it that these are Mandalorians doing this and not just a ragtag group led by Woody Harrelson. So there's a difference there.
Right.
And, yeah, I don't know.
But when you think about it from like a production standpoint, this is like 10 guys running through a hallway, whereas like in Solo they needed to like have like flying speeder bikes and all kinds of shit. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, did they need to have it
involved? Yeah, there's a lot more animation.
Okay.
Because they only cut outside to the exterior of the ship like 2 or 3 times during this whole thing, I think, right? Like, and so what do you guys and also like what do you think about these hard times Imperial policies about like scorched earth policy, basically, where like once Moff Gideon tells them that if they've cleared out that much of the ship, we're not even sending reinforcements, like you guys already lost this ship, so you know what to do. And the officer running the ship is like not even confident that he can keep his pilots on board, right? So he kills them right away.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, how hard is it to crash a ship?
Those two guys give that look to each other like, "Oh, this is it." And they get shot right in the back.
That's the we're not paid enough for the shit look.
Yep.
And they weren't ready to go down with the ship. So like he knew he couldn't wait for it and deal with them. It's kind of like, I guess it's kind of like when Greef shot his 2 Jabba goons in chapter 7. When it's just too too
convoluted. Those guys worked for him.
This.
He could have just been like, "Guys, all right, change the plan." No.
Yeah, but I mean, so like this, I feel like people gloss over stuff like this. So it's like, of course you guys understand that like just like the weird double standards and how things are rated by like I guess this doesn't have to worry about a Motion Picture Association of America rating, but it's like, of course, anything involving sex gives it a higher rating than you can have as much violence.
Are we talking about the frog people again?
We're getting there.
Good.
So like anything
I'm
like
glad this is where
sex,
it's going.
Horrible rating. Violence, meh, no one really cares. But this is like, this guy tries to commit suicide twice in like 5 minutes, and the second time he succeeds. And it's
by
a kid. This is supposed
some 5
okay.
gum.
Yes.
Thanks, Jerry, for the great joke, by the way.
That was good, but that was good, but we're really referencing like World War II style cyanide pills that pilots would have in case they crash and survive, right? Stuff like that. So like it's kind of dark.
I mean, like, he basically electrocuted his brain. I mean, that's like,
yeah.
What does it have, like a mini Palpatine in it?
I don't know. I just saw that and it's like it reminded me of there's like this episode in the first season of Clone Wars where like they introduced these like assassin battle droids that like take over this base. That there's a few clones like running this base, and like these assassin droids come in and like kill everybody. And like the last 5 clones like suicide bomb the whole place just so the droids won't get the data. And I was just it was a similar feeling where I was like, how many kids are watching this and like thinking way longer about this scene than the adults in the room are just like laughing and clapping and being like, what a great action-packed episode. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just thought the whole suicide thing was a little bit like it was good, like it was interesting and all that, but like it's just funny how like it's painted as like a kids show that can't do certain things, but it's no problem to do that. You know what I mean?
You know, until you said something, I didn't even think about it.
Exactly my point.
Like the first time taking out the ship, I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. But the biting into his gum was a different thing and whatnot. I mean that was an obvious. But he also was like, if he put out the thing of how like terrible Gideon is in the sense of, if I live, I'm dead anyways. Like he'll
puts
find
a lot
me.
more faith in him than I think even the audience has. We're like, well, we know the Empire is kind of dead. I thought these guys were kind of on the run. And
man, they off themselves instantly.
Is it something you bite down? Does he have a button for that thing?
Yeah, that was a bit much, right? The whole electricity thing. It's like, you tell me they can't, like we got it worked out in current times where you don't need it's just poison. You know, you don't need the whole face electrocution.
That's space poison. He's got a Star Wars suicide up a little bit.
Poison in there, and you're fine. You don't need to electrocute your whole face. But it was a fun effect, I guess.
I just like to imagine, you know, the Emperor droid things that float around, the red ones with the Emperor's hologram in it. that gave the orders
The
afterwards.
Sentinels.
Yeah, Sentinel droids. I just imagine like it's like a little red droid that floats around in your mouth, and then when you bite down, it's like the Emperor going, like shocking you. I don't have an Emperor bit to say
Gideon,
there
too. I don't know why. For some reason, I thought Gideon might have been in control of it on my first
I feel
watch.
like he bites down, like he moves his mouth or something.
Yeah,
Hold on, let me see. I'm near the scene. I can find it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like what else could it be other than a reference to cyanide pills, right?
Oh no, he bites down hard.
Yeah.
And then like his teeth get electrocuted, which just makes my teeth now feel like maybe you're just chewing aluminum foil. Nobody?
Yeah, well, that must have been very underwhelming.
Beskar
that must have been
foil.
very underwhelming on set without the effect, but yeah.
All right.
You're dying now.
It's great just having Bryce Dallas Howard sitting there going, all right, I want you to act like your mouth's being electrocuted.
Yeah.
No, do it better.
Blue stuff on your face.
No, do it better this time. All right, I guess that's
if they would have shown his skull for a second, like Vader, that would have been pretty cool.
I mean, the freeze frame that Jerry put up on the Facebook thing it's pretty. I mean, you see like veins and stuff, but it would have been great if they had the whole skull in there for a second.
Yeah, I'm. You know what? I'm almost not willing to believe that there isn't for one of those frames because, like, how could they resist referencing a beloved original trilogy moment?
Yeah, and all I can see is that they just
go back and see.
They just call it an electric suicide capsule. So suicide, not Gideon. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it probably didn't need to be electric, but that way the audience can easily see what happened to him. So like,
I mean, when they
if
normally
he would just fainted and like taking a pill, we were like, what is this guy? He got the vapors or something and just fell down.
So and I don't and I know I'm nitpicking stuff. I really did enjoy this episode. Like if for being
Knights of Vader,
minutes,
if not to nitpick.
Yeah, but I mean it's half as long as the first one, and I think it's twice as good and half as long. But you know, one other thing that's like one other like pointless nitpick is just like, and this one might bother me the most of anything. And it's minor, but in a sense, but like, how the hell does Bo-Katan look exactly the same as she did like 28 years earlier? Like she's even
from Tatooine and kept herself up.
But she's even wearing literally the same headband she had before, and she has the exact same haircut.
Favorite headband and her favorite hairstyle.
And am I wrong in that the hairstyle looked kind of funny in real life?
It did.
Like,
it did.
It looked kind of funny. When they saw that, they should have been like, "We gotta try something else." And also, we're
give her buns or something.
And she's like a contemporary of like Anakin and Obi-Wan. Like she's an adult in the Clone Wars, so like whatever she's doing, it's working. You know what I'm saying? Like should be about Anakin's age, who has been dead for some years at this point.
5 years? Yeah,
she in canon she has to be like at least 50 years old, right? So like it's a little weird in that sense, but you know on some level it's like the only reason this character is even in the show is probably because they thought about it and they're like, hey, we can actually get her to play her. So like it's almost like he had to encounter Mandalorians, but because she was like still acting and like kind of looks the part, they sort of probably fudged it a little bit so it would work. But like I would have appreciated it. Like they could have gave her, they could like, you know what I mean? Like half the audience doesn't know who that is anyways, right? They could have gave her like gray hair or something, or like made her look a little like battle scarred. She doesn't need to look like Sarlacc Pit Boba Fett or anything, but like they could have tried to like make it look like it had been it didn't have to be a rough 28 years, but it had to be 28 years. You know what I'm saying?
So
either way, how mad is Ashley Eckstein at this? Because seeing the reaction of it's great to see someone from the Clone Wars actually be in a live action series. She's like, it's awesome, guys.
Yeah, it's great.
Really great.
Just awesome. I think you're gonna crack one of your teeth. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, she's like, you got any of those electric pills that guy had? He's like, whoa.
You know
Has anyone checked on Ashley Eckstein lately?
But like, what percentage of the audience is learning that Bo-Katan is a character in Clone Wars and Rebels from podcasts and Googling top 10 things you missed? You know what I mean? Like, what percentage of the audience actually knows?
Hey, let's not get into my research for this episode, okay? Googling top 10 things I missed.
Yeah. But I'm exactly. But and this is coming from a guy who may or may not have watched all of Clone Wars and Rebels. I
watched the Clone Wars that mattered.
But I have to believe there's a big segment of the audience who is like would never have considered watching either of those because they view them as these are children's cartoons. Why am I watching them? Meanwhile, Mandalorian is essentially the exact same thing. But you know what I mean, though. I don't think they needed to make her look the exact same to convey to audiences that that's who it is, because I think that's half the audience at most, anyways. Who like
they're just happy that the actual voice. They must have just designed the character to also just look like her, because when they put the side by side images up, it's like it looks. They nailed it.
Well, you know, having the exact same haircut and headband does some work, but yeah, I see.
It's so people can recognize it quickly and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the helmet was. I think the helmet's the exact same too, right?
Everything's the same. Like they intentionally made it to where it looks like almost exactly the same.
I gotta say those blue looks. That's not my favorite look of a Mando armor too. The blue they were wearing. I don't know. Just not the coolest.
Okay, I'm looking at a side by side here of her from Rebels, because we saw her in Rebels too, and she doesn't look that aged up in Rebels.
Yeah, but Rebels
I guess she just doesn't crack over time. Like
But Rebels is like how many years before this? Like 8 or 10, something like
10?
that.
I want to say 10.
Yeah. Like because So that I give that a pass. It's just like I don't know. They could have made her look a little more hardcore. Like the haircut seemed a bit childish. You know what I mean? Like it does.
It seems like kind of 70s too.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's like your little headband and shit. You're supposed to be. Come on, you're like 50 years old. Katie Sackhoff is 40, but
I know. I was about to say Katie Sackhoff is like ridiculously okay. I tell you what, Chris, you go talk an actress into playing older than she actually is, and you see how that conversation goes.
Yeah, but I mean, she's not calling the shots, though. You know what I mean? I don't know.
You try to find anyone who's going to tell her otherwise.
You know how happy she was to get that part, man? She was tweeting about it before she was even allowed to. She was like, the best thing just happened to me the other day. You guys, I can't wait to share with you guys this and that. Like right after the rumors leaked that she was like cast, right?
Yep.
So and like she's been tweeting about it all week. Like I think they could have made her look like hardcore, like I don't know, like a big Anakin like eye scar, like some gray hair. Like I would have been more into that.
Give her a shaved head like Sigourney Weaver in
Alien 3, the best movie.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
God dang it, we got there.
That helmet's got to be way more comfortable with no hair.
Well, don't worry. That part got edited out because
still a headband though. She'll have the headband, just no hair.
Just no hair. Perfect. Awesome. I'm glad we got to this point.
Right. Okay. So like, but you know, it was awesome. There was like quality stormtrooper gunfight action.
Yeah, them shooting everything. Actually, they did hit Mando a lot. So
yeah, he got pegged quite a bit doing that suicide run. That it once again proving he is the bravest of all the Mandalore. And that to save the day, he takes all those shots. I guess he does probably have the best armor of them all.
I mean, it's brand new Beskar. Like, okay, so I'm just making sure I'm establishing this correctly. All Mandalorian armor's Beskar, like all of it for the most part.
I don't think it's established yet. Boba Fett's was supposed to be something different, like a Durasteel or something, right,
no,
Chris? And they haven't really changed that yet.
It's definitely not all Beskar because, like, in the first couple episodes, he has like the chest plate, for example, it's like kind of brown and like it's shaped similar to Boba Fett's, so it's like definitely like a Mandalorian armor piece, but like he replaces it like it was total. Like when that rhino hits it, it gets crumpled in half and it's all like shocking him and shit. So like that stuff's clearly not as good, whatever that was.
That's what I was wondering, because I'm like, I don't think they all have Beskar. I think a good chunk of them might, but I mean, I don't. Why would you paint it? I mean, why is everyone just walking around like some silver savior of us all?
It's for the
learning. There's like
audience.
50 different factions. They all believe some different weird a strand of Mandalorism.
One of them's just chucking out Beskar because they're like, oh, this stuff is terrible for us. Actually, speaking of terrible for us, So he kind of points out that Mandalore, the planet, not the people, not the person, is cursed. Like, he's like anyone. So his sect of Mandalorian has no interest in reclaiming the planet at all.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because it's also really weird that he didn't know who Bo-Katan was, being such a devoted Mandalorian, right? Because
once again, what
ruler of the planet for a minute?
What sect of Amish is he?
It's the village. Like, it's really the village. Like, they were crazy. Like, they never let him outside.
So wait, he knows about the okay. Now you bring
the actual way, right?
True. I'm with Russ on that statement. The Mandalore, as in the person, not
only that, but when he was out being a bounty hunter for like 10, 15 years, he never Googled his home planet even once.
Space Google.
It's a dead planet. Google. There's nothing going on there. There's a bunch of fleas. Everyone's got to shave their head if they go there.
Yep.
Oh,
he never even looked at it. From a good.
I want to point this out. I might have been incorrect about what the Empire did to it. They didn't blow it up with the Death Star, but I forgot in the Clone Wars and Rebels, it's pointed out that entire planet's basically a wasteland. Anyways. So,
Bo-Katan seems to think that's just some propaganda for some reason,
but they use
planet is salvageable.
They do go to it in Rebels, though, right?
Yeah, and they have to like live in those bubble cities or something, because like the rest of the planet's like basically destroyed from all the wars they've had.
Right. Oh, yeah, but I guess that's a good point. When you compare it to what they showed of it in Clone Wars, they're just sort of in like little bases in the middle of like desert fields. Yep. So it's like they scaled it back a little bit, but it's just sort of like it's painting this picture that the upbringing he had was like these guys were a real controversial group, whatever they were called.
Yeah, and they seem surprised to even run into him. The Children of the Watch, that whoever was running this thing, I guess the Armorer. I mean, she seems to only be the only leadership in there.
And she was fully bought in, because she was the one like grilling them about whether they ever took off their helmets and stuff like that, right? So like she's deeply involved in whatever the it's like Bohemian Grove or something. Like, I don't know.
I was about to say it's almost like a
Scientology.
I was about to say cult. It's basically like a cult, like the cult of Mandalore. That would explain. Oh my gosh, we've broken it. That would explain, because in like cults and stuff, like they are completely cut off from like the outside world and everything. But why are they letting one?
Yeah, they're all about brainwashing as far as the information. That's why this dude doesn't know anything. He doesn't know what a Jedi is. He thinks his planet's dead.
Everyone dressed alike
and
can't take off their helmets.
Or
and weapons are his religion.
Or this entire plot, this subplot, is all just so.
Shoehorned?
This whole entire subplot was orchestrated by Pedro Pascal's manager, so he could eventually take off his helmet in a couple episodes and leave it off for the rest of the show.
But I was bringing up because I know that has come out, and I do think that is paving the way for that. Absolutely, that eventually, maybe not this time, but the way this show is going to go down is at some point he's going to be like, all right, fine, I guess I can take it off, but they'll keep it going for a little while. It'll be some kind of inner struggle he has to deal with.
Right, they just realized they should have. They got too good of an actor to get away with that for like 3 seasons straight, probably. But hopefully they make him look a little better than that figure that's coming out, because that's pretty wild. I don't know if any of you guys saw that, but it's been memed quite heavily. There's like this removable helmet Mandalorian figure coming out where it like he kind of looks like he was like stung by a bee or something. Like
yes, he looks very weird. Brutal. He's real puffy looking and dumpy, like his face is kind of melted a little bit.
And I mean, he did look pretty rough the one time.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna come to his defense and say, well, the last time we saw him, he looked pretty rough. So I mean,
but he's not supposed to be like that. Though. He's supposed to be like in like semi, like he didn't just get literally blown up in the figure. He's not like currently internally bleeding.
Like, look, this is all we had to work on. Okay. It's like you couldn't possibly find a picture of this guy. Right. He wasn't on Game of Thrones or anything.
Yeah,
he was on no other show. He's always worn a mask in everything he's been on. This was the only scene he's out of the mask. No, I mean,
really, it is a weird choice to get a super handsome guy to do this, but whatever.
Oh, also for any of you people keeping tally at home, we had a third actor from Deadwood that I can confirm was in this episode. The commander guy who decided to eat some 5 gum was apparently in Deadwood as well. So I guess they're just going to Deadwood and being like, hey, your show's done. Can we just cast everyone that was in your show?
Yeah,
or like little bit
started
roles.
with Timothy Oliphant. Now the door's open and just all going in.
And they were doing that with Game of Thrones at the beginning too, right? So like doesn't that seem a bit arbitrary to you guys? Like it's like shouldn't there be more criteria to it than that? Like,
just be a character
right
actor in something.
Yeah.
And that should have been canceled for years too. And it's going to be next year's going to be like Breaking Bad people. Well, we already had Bill Burr. So.
Oh man, we're getting there, people. We are getting there.
Like, what are those edgy shows?
Any other thoughts on this episode?
So like this.
I guess we haven't talked about the big thing yet.
Well, I think what you must be referring to is why Alien 3 is the best film in the Alien franchise.
What I'm talking about is I just smacked the crap out of my mic. What I'm talking about, of course, is how Aliens is the best, and this conversation ends. We move on to now discuss Ahsoka Tano's name drop, and also I think she'll be in the next episode. Controversial statement.
The next one's the 4th. I don't know. I think I think we got more side missions ahead, man. You can't be that easy. Not for Din Djarin, the Mindalindian.
Well,
and I think it's been revealed that Filoni, Hatman, he's directing episode 5. I don't think there's any way he's letting anyone else.
He is writing and directing. Carl Weathers is directing episode 4, so I think we're gonna see what's going on with Grief Karga.
Oh, is this his directorial debut?
Oh my god, is it? Oh my gosh, I gotta look this up now.
I hope there's workout montages, and I hope
that doesn't mean we're gonna see him. Great. That doesn't mean we're gonna see him. You know, like it might just be like he might not have wanted to be heavily featured in the episode he's directing. You know, like that. It could be that we don't quite get there.
Like he'd be the easiest person for him to direct himself, right?
Right, but you're wearing a lot of hats when you're directing. You don't know if he's in the episode a lot. He's not. I don't know. Maybe he goes back and picks those guys up before he heads to Ahsoka, and that's why we see them. But it is interesting though, because we're starting to see some of these larger Imperial forces that were from the trailer, which I assumed would be like more directly connected to Moff Gideon. I guess he sort of did show up in that hologram, but like we like some of the shots of that freighter were in the trailer with the stormtroopers running down the hallway and stuff. I guess we still haven't seen the Imperial troop transports and the speeder bikes and all that. I don't recognize the planet that was from either, but it's you're sort of getting the impression that Moff Gideon is like really running the show for the Empire at this time. Like he's like Din's traveling all over the place, and this one freighter is in direct contact with Moff Gideon. Which
coincidence?
It seemed like there was like more like in the first season the client was like in the way of that, right? Like he was like a guy you had to deal with to even get up to that point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Also, I want to ruin Russ's day. This is not his directorial debut. He has directed other stuff.
I'm not. He's cool. Like 75 years old. I'm not surprised. But what else you got in the? Did you look up the IMDb director list?
Oh yeah, Hawaii 5-0. He directed an episode.
Okay.
18 Wheels of Justice. He directed several episodes.
So he's perfect for this.
Perfect.
Yeah, he is perfect to direct himself in this. I'm telling you, I think
18 Wheels of Justice was a show.
I don't know. I just was reading them. What is 18 Wheels of Justice? It is like a trucker show, of course.
Oh my god, is that like a trucker vigilante? Like I have to look into that now.
Billy D. Williams was in it.
What?
Yes.
Oh, it's getting extreme.
Oh, the Star Wars cross.
Oh, so maybe Lando will make an appearance. Maybe we'll see some 18-wheelers and some Justice.
Some space
and maybe Hawaii. Maybe they'll go to a Hawaii type planet. And this is why you needed me.
Oh, what? He's going to be sitting there relaxing with like a with like a coconut thing with a straw in it in his hand. He's like, "Oh, I knew you'd come for me eventually."
Yeah, Caracinthian dude's gonna be fanning him. He's gonna be in paradise.
I mean, it'd be tough. It'd be kind of rough to show Lando because like it's after Return of the Jedi, so you can't mess with Donald Glover, so it has to be Billy D. But like,
can you digitally age Glover up?
They filmed Rise of Skywalker a while ago,
and Billy D.
When you're like a million years old, like Billy D, like 2 years is a long time. So like, it would be like I wouldn't be mad if they did it, but like I'm sure it'd be a little rough. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're purposefully staying away from the feature film characters, I guess, in a good way. We're getting more of the Clone Wars stuff. I don't think.
But but how do you guys feel about like Ahsoka? All we know about Ahsoka in this time period is that like she's possibly this really bothers me that they won't commit to the fact that she's dead by Rise of Skywalker. Because we're talking about a Clone Wars character here, but she talks to Rey through the Force and at the end of Episode 9, and that's all we really know from the end of Rebels, pretty much, right? Like maybe the part where they show after the Battle of Andor, she shows up for like 2 seconds. I can't remember if she's in the very end of Rebels.
A cloak and everything on, and got like a staff that she like hits on the ground.
The Gandalf costume.
Yes.
Yeah. But so from there to this is the first we're hearing of her. I'm not like I really story-wise I'm not crazy about the fact that like she's just out there still alive post Return of the Jedi. It's kind of like they didn't have the balls to kill her off at some point before the original trilogy happened. And I don't like it. You don't have to. It's fine that she's a marketable character. You can do tons of stuff with her within the timeline she existed. I don't like that she's out there the whole time the original trilogy is happening, because she would have been real helpful if she would have
it does throw that off.
Especially if Bo-Katan just knows where she's at. You know what I mean? It's just people just know who she's famous. Basically, people just know where she can be found. So
I love how everyone knows where everyone else is in Star Wars too. It's like no one ever moves or does anything, or they just I'm here, I sit and I wait.
Yeah, what if it's a twist though, like she's in jail or something?
Or
jury's out, I guess. It might be interesting, but doesn't it like I remember like when Clone Wars was still like when the original run of Clone Wars was still going on. And even Rebels, people were always like, "Well, Ahsoka's got to die, right?" Like let's be honest here about the chronology of this story. Like, it's really weird if she survives Rebels. Like, what are we talking about here? She's just around the whole time during the original trilogy, and like they're just like, "We're not doing that." I don't know.
They refused. I've got all these Ahsoka Lives T-shirts, and I'm going to wear one every few years at a convention.
And frankly, we're literally talking about Filoni here. Who it's like literally his choice, probably, right?
It's look, Lucas regretted killing Darth Maul, and he had to bring him back a million times. I am not making that mistake.
You could. Darth Maul in Clone Wars could have been any new character. There's no reason it had to be that guy. Like, it's kind of interesting that he like specifically hated Obi-Wan because of what happened to him, but you find like why Darth Maul is interesting in that second half of his existence is because he eventually realizes that Palpatine was the one who actually ruined his life. Like, that's what's interesting about like animated Darth Maul. He like eventually barely gets smart enough to realize who the actual villain was.
I mean, barely.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he's in Obi-Wan's arms as he's dying, and he's like, "Well, will this guy at least avenge us because of Palpatine?" And he's like, "Yeah, probably."
Maybe, I don't know. There's another, whatever.
There's always another.
Right. So like, but like you guys like, but it's not bothering you that Ahsoka's like just got some sweet palatial setup somewhere.
Yeah, I think there has to be some kind of twist because when's the last time she is seen in anything? Is in Rebels, right? And she disappears with
she's gone dark the whole
Skippy
original trilogy.
Yeah. So she disappears with the main kid to go fight against Thrawn or something like that.
Try to find
the world between. Yeah, I think that's where she left off in that.
Yep.
So it's going to lead to Thrawn? Would Thrawn be around?
Or will Ezra Bridger Boy be around too?
I'm just saying, I would like a reason. I would like a reason why. I would like an explanation as to where she was that whole time through the original trilogy, and like it has to be good. She had to be like banished to like an alternate dimension or some shit.
No, we're not gonna. Okay, I just thought of something. We're not gonna get an explanation on it because why would you do that when you could have a whole series that they can have that talks about why she wasn't around during that time? Duh.
Yeah, because it could have been her and the Martell sisters opened up some kind of speeder service.
Let me tell you, if they do something. Yeah, exactly. That's what it's going to be, the whole series, Martell sisters. But if they do something like in Clone Wars Season 7, where like they literally make scenes where Ahsoka like telephones Luke Skywalker during The Empire Strikes Back, and they're just like friends that whole time, like that's going to bother me a lot.
Oh, I'm going to be fine with that. I
don't know.
So okay, over under real quick on this. Because I mean, we're going about as long as these episodes normally go. But so is Baby Yoda gonna attempt to eat Ahsoka, and that's what happens to her? Because Yoda, Baby Yoda has attempted to eat everything else on the planet. So maybe that's how she comes to an end. Is he just eats her somehow? Just eats something.
He just
that's
starts
like
with one of those tentacle things on.
Yeah.
He gets confused and thinks it's a little snack.
Yep.
And that's why she's a Force ghost in Episode 9.
There you go. I figured it out. You're welcome.
Yep. And is she gonna say the words Yoda when she sees the child? You think? Because that's never been said on this.
It hasn't. Oh man, you bring up the hard
I think
points.
I know your dad. I used to work for your dad.
Oh, man, I used to work with him. Great guy.
The big question is, why is she not going to take him? But I guess we'll get to that when we cross it.
Is going to distract her. I think they're going to get into a big mess altogether, and it's going to become about more. It's going to become about the Darksaber and the Imperials, and I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know.
Yeah, but you know, it kind of sucks that we already know that it's not going to be like we'll drop off Baby Yoda with Ahsoka, and like that's just we're good from here out. Like he's, you know what I mean? Like it's almost a foregone conclusion that that's not going to happen. So it'll be interesting to see why that doesn't happen.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Zach, how do you wrap these things up?
We chronologically pretty much got to the end, so that's pretty solid.
Yeah, we did it with only minimal amounts of talk of the second best Alien movie.
You know what? I'll accept that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying those first three are way better than AVP, and like I kind of like AVP, but like let's get real. Those first three Alien movies are a solid, cohesive narrative that has an interesting beginning, middle, and end. And AVP is like a music video. It's fun while you're watching it, but when you try and contextualize it in an intellectual sense after the fact, you realize that you're an idiot. So don't worry about that. I'm just saying, especially Alien Covenant, like how Zack defending Alien Covenant, like don't even get me started on that. But anyways, Aliens, and Alien 3 are good. That's all I'm saying.
And I'm going to say, as far as this debate goes, no matter who wins, the listeners lose. So.
Yes, every time.
Done great.
So that's why I got everyone is waiting. Everyone needs to know, Russ, where's a good place to buy gumbo down there in Louisiana? These are the questions people want to ask him, not about aliens.
Well, ask me about gumbo.
Yes.
I don't know. Come down here, I'll take you to Don Seafood or something. I don't know. There's all kind of places.
I almost didn't even believe Russ lived in Louisiana until he just said that.
Perfect.
Been hiding this, yeah.
All right. So I guess it goes with join the Facebook. Oh yeah, that's what Zach does. Join the Facebook group. Knights of Vader podcast. Go on there where you can have intellectual discussions with us about alien movies, and apparently just light up my notifications with all that. Or try some 5 Gum. Apparently it what was the tagline for 5 Gum? Because like I'm sorry, I gotta give it to Jerry. That was a perfect joke.
Suicide
in my opinion.
is painful. It's the opposite of MASH.
let's see here. How it feels to chew 5 gum. Yes, exactly. So perfect job on that. Check out the Facebook page. There's an email for this thing. Zach knows what it is. There's no Twitter because Zach can't be on Twitter. And I'm sure there's you can find this on places wherever you're listening to it. I'm doing a great job of this.
Well, it's okay that you skipped the email because Zach's not going to reply to you anyways, so it's fine.
Exactly. There is one. Zach knows what it is. He'll email himself. You can find me on ZengThis.
He reads them, but he doesn't reply to them.
Exactly. Not on the podcast, but he reads them to himself. You can find me on ZengThis. I talk about nerdy stuff, and it's more cohesive than this, I guess. I have no clue. This is why Zach doesn't let me host this. And Russ, where can people find more from you?
You can check out my show, Unbelievers Podcast. And Zenger, you're doing a bang-up job. You're doing great. You're being too hard on yourself.
I try to. I don't have Zach to tamp me down. All right. So, Chris, where can people find more from you?
You can find me at the Chris Porteous on Instagram. I have some photography over there, and you can also find me perhaps derailing the conversation further on this show in the future. Hopefully,
we'll see what happens.
See ya.
Also, you are darn it, because Zach would say like you're the X whatever. So you are the 4th best collector in all of Canada.
We've really lost track given coronavirus.
I always make sure that it is either plus or minus 1 from whatever I said in the beginning of the episode.
Look, stop the counts. Stop the 4th is good. Stop the count.
Yes, we need to stop the counts and stop this episode. Thank you to An Inspiriority Complex for providing the outro of this show. I don't know if they do. Anyways, a moment of Zang. I'm ending the episode.
They do.